Hi, I'm Ken Ueno, composer, vocalist, and sound artist. I am currently a professor at UC Berkeley in music composition. My piece, Blood Blossoms, was scheduled for performance with the Nemo Ensemble in Ghent, Belgium. But of course, due to the safety concerns around the pandemic, that performance is now canceled. The ensemble has asked me to respond to a few questions, and this self-interview is my response. First, they asked, how did you get in contact with the Nemo Ensemble, and what did you think is so specific about the ensemble? Well, a little more than a year ago, the Nemo Ensemble contacted me and let me know that they were interested in performing my piece. Since then, I've gotten to know their work and was excited to see that they were such energetic, active, fantastic young virtuosos. And I felt lucky that they found me and were interested in my music. It was more than 20 years ago that I received a grant from the Belgian American Education Foundation to live in Brussels to study with Frederick, which was a pivotal moment in my life. And since that time, I've had a number of performances in Belgium, including a performance of my viola concerto at Ars Musica. 20 years of memories accumulated like eddies in a stream. Riding the train to Liège with Frederick, watching him fall asleep reading Dostoevsky in the original Russian, being amidst the euphoria of celebrations after Belgium defeated Sweden in the first round of Euro 2000. Getting to hang out with Charlemagne Palestine. I thought it was strange that I had to go to Belgium to find the two most radical American musicians. So I remember talking to François Depp about Francis Ponge. We talked about literature late night over drinks after some concerts. I got to see Thierry Demey work with dancers, attended many concerts, and was impressed with the quantity and quality of performances in Belgium. And my little apartment in Excel that I remember fondly was near a park. I remember one weekend, all of a sudden there was a festival in the place in front of my apartment, and lo and behold, there was a roller coaster right in front of my window all weekend. I am still shell-shocked from that moment. The eddies now push into the future, and my heart was full and was looking forward to having my music being present in a place that had meant so much to me, even if I weren't going to be able to physically make it out to those concerts. I was happy that my music would be back there. And I also remembered, it was a moment to be reminded of my greatest regret, that I still had yet to visit the beautiful city of Ghent. And if this concert will be rescheduled into the future, maybe then it's a positive outcome that can come, is that maybe I'll be able to right that wrong finally and attend. Number 2, what were your thoughts about this April production? In such times as these, we artists are humbled by the realities of the world. We hope everyone is safe, and I pray for everyone's continued safety and health. Although art has to take a back seat in such times as these, art gives me comfort and hope through hard times. The art that has inspired me most has enhanced my perceptive capacities to see beauty in the world around us, even in the darkest of times. I believe that the most beautiful music is still yet to be made in the future, and that extends to all human endeavors, that our best moments are still yet to come. And it is for that we must endure, live on, and make even bolder works. Next question. What is your work about? Tell us about your way of writing, your influences. Well, Blood Blossoms was written 18 years ago, originally for the Bang on a Can All-Stars. We are all, in a way, ships of Theseuses. I've changed. My music has changed. But I hope there is a fundamental core that still remains. At the time, I was still a graduate student, and most of my training up to that moment featured a kind of polarization between vernacular forms and the classical. But growing up an electric guitarist, I felt attached to viscerality and the beauty of distortion, noise. If the piece is about anything, it's about trying to reclaim something I love in music, that distortion and noise and the visceral space. And this piece was important to me at the time. It was one of the first pieces in which I was able to try to reconcile the heady modernism and the structures that I was interested in with Hendrixian viscerality. Yes, Hendrix, my biggest hero. Sounds are powerful, complex sounds. They vibrated on my body, the torrents of feedback and sculpting overtones. The impact of his music, I remember when I was young, growing up and moving a lot, and my experience of being an outsider, and kind of describe my upbringing and my life as being in perpetual exile. Those unique esoteric sounds of Hendrix, music like that, I remember those sounds made me feel like the sound somehow understood me and that it was okay to be me, if that makes any sense at all. That's the impact of those sounds. And around the time I was writing those notes, that piece, I remember I was reading William F. Burroughs' Naked Lunch, and there was a passage from it. The old junkie found a vein. Blood blossoms in the dropper like a Chinese flower. And it's that little quote. It's the title of the piece is from that fragment. And it said to me that even in moments as profane as when a junkie is shooting up, there are opportunities to acknowledge beauty. Maybe that's a lesson we can be reminded of now too, as there is darkness and something that feels like it's overpowering us, but there are moments to acknowledge a blossoming of hope, even within that the dark times. Now the question, how are you living in the global crisis? How is your daily life now, and how do you keep yourself busy these days? Are you writing now more than ever, or is this a time to reflect and not to create? Well, for about a month now, we have been self-quarantining in Berkeley. I've been teaching my classes and lessons online. Most days I stay in. I mostly only go out to get groceries, and every few days I go for a run. It's been hard. But perhaps because I am a composer, my life is probably more similar to my usual life because I am so used to spending so much time alone. I have been reading a bit more, maybe. Recently reading Edward Said, Laura Esquivel, Murakami. Recently finishing Kafka on the Shore, which I recommend for all classical music fans because there's lots of references to music and Schubert. And I also was catching up on some films that I've been meaning to see, like Winter Sleep by Nuri Bilge Ceylan and Uncle Bunme, Who Can Recall His Past Lives by Apichatpong Weerasethakul. And I've also started a little Skype or Zoom online meetings with friends and students to read and discuss Zhukovsky's A, as well as Finnegan's Wake, two of my favorites. I am actively trying to engage with art that inspires me so I don't get us down, as you can imagine. And I'm also planning future projects. For example, I have a project coming up for a gallery in Hong Kong where I will build an installation of speakers that move on rails in counterpoint with a swarm of drones, all as a backdrop, as an environment for me as a vocalist to perform in. And that's the recent trajectory of my music. I've been working to instrumentalize architecture, to create spaces that are themselves instruments, and especially in coordination with my own performance as a vocalist who specializes in extended techniques. So those are the questions that the ensemble asked me. I hope it was of some interest to you. My thanks go out to the ensemble for their interests and hard work, and sorry that we had to cancel the concert. I look forward to another opportunity in the future that we can work together, and most of all, I hope that we could finally meet, as they say, in real life. Till then, I hope not only the ensemble, but all of you out there, you stay safe and strong, and I hope to see you guys out there. Okay? Take care.